I'm Sue. I'm back again. I wanted to pick out one of the self seeds to start with, and I'm going to choose stillness. Because to me, if I am looking at the 11 seeds, stillness is the starting point. It's, in a way, it's a centering point. And I like to think about the idea of stillness in terms of a peaceful inner state. It's not an emotional state. It's a state beyond emotion that is based on inner peace, equanimity, and acceptance. Now, of course, that's incredibly difficult, especially with all the things going on in our life, all the challenges, things that are pulling us forward. And so I like to be a little careful, even using the word meditation, contemplation, stillness, all of those things. To me, it's like a soup, and those are all things in the soup. And there may be different words for moving towards that state of inner peace. Now, in the beginning, I never meditated. I wasn't a meditator. I work with horses professionally, so I was very much interiorly connected, because obviously when you train horses, most of the dialogue is silent. It's an inner sharing between this magnificent being and yourself, and so there's a lot of conversation going on from a very deep inner place of sensing from your intuition and listening, watching subtleties of their body, their reaction, their eye, feeling their muscle structure, and being a conduit for sensing all of that. So I lived in an interior world, but I didn't live in a way in my own interior world, because it was subject to either being in nature or being with the horses, which is very, very beautiful, and again, I have much appreciation. So there was a point where I ended up having a lot of questions about humanity and how to bridge the gap that I felt between when I was in the presence of humans versus in the presence of nature and in the presence of animals. So it began a very deep journey for me. A lot of questions. I love to ask questions and to seek out answers. And so that journey actually led me to 2 years in India and to have a spiritual retreat, sitting in an ashram in the presence of a remarkable guru, and to ask a lot of questions about the spiritual world, to sit in my own personal stillness, and to how to incorporate that. I didn't look at it as a retreat. I looked at it as a way to gain a toolkit so that I could integrate that inner peace into being in the outer world. Because so far, I'm in a body, moving forward, and whether you believe that's an illusion or whatever that is, I accept that I'm in a body, so I'm working with that. But how to create an inner state that is even more like animals, what we sense, what we love about nature, but do that no matter what is going on. So just to share, in the beginning, 5 minutes of sitting still, just sitting still, and then 5 minutes later of all this stuff circulating constantly. I have a very busy head and mind. But over time of practice, it's like everything, it's practice. And it's trying to practice with an idea of evaluating what's going on, but not being critical, not being disturbed if you fell off for a minute. To me, I love when I make mistakes or something goes awry, because I learn so much. So to me, it's just part of the flow that is being a human. Those things are going to happen. So when I approach stillness, whether it's just sitting in a chair, or I'm just sitting on the, like I am here, that the goal is to keep working towards that sense of quietness interiorly, and not to be disturbed if I go outside of that stillness, that I just keep working with it and accept what comes in and then shift and then again. So like in the beginning, in the ashram, it isn't quiet when you're trying to meditate. There's life going on. There's the traffic going by. There's things going on in the kitchen. There's people coming and going. There's children. There's a school next door. There's the phones ringing from all the international people. I mean, there's life happening. It's like being on the freeway. It's not a quiet situation. So I even took those points of the ceiling fan squeaking or the sounds and made a point just to accept those sounds as a point and not be disturbed by them, not think, oh, why is that sound going on now? It's wrecking my meditation. It's more just going, okay, part of life, part of acceptance. These things are happening around me, and then eventually over time, that those things, then I could gain a point of acceptance. And then I could see that as its own process moving forward, that these obstacles, whether I was walking down the street or where I lived or whatever it is, in whatever Eastern or Western society that are challenges, that again, just to keep going back to that centered point. So my point is, even starting with 5 minutes, don't feel like you need to start with an hour, that it's going to be perfect. It's like watching a small child learning to stand. You start, you fall down, you stand up, you fall down, you stand up. That's all part of the beauty, because in the falling, in the going to distraction, you learn what that is to be able to then come back to the center. So it's a really beautiful thing to have these challenges. To me, that's what kind of set the framework for how to find what I was searching for or what I was learning, is I could find the truth or what that is by making these mistakes and then coming back to the center point. So that idea of wanting to search for stillness, what is that investigation of meditation, contemplation, thoughtfulness, again, set for me a big journey to India, but for all of us, it could be just that moment that we sit still in our house, in the backyard, in our car, waiting, anything like that. Very simply, just a point to be still and to reflect, to go inward, to not have to have a thought. So I hope that's, again, the point is to just share. I can only share from my very, very limited experience. I'm one body out of 7 billion plus that are on the planet. I learn all the time from being in my own stream of life, and also from sharing and hearing what other people's experiences are as well.